Welcome back to the war. Today we explore the Battle of Mariupol, one of the fiercest and most heartbreaking battles of the Ukraine war. We'll take you through what life was like in Mariupol before the war, the brutal fighting that ravaged the city, and the current state of this resilient community. Make sure to watch until the end as we uncover the untold stories of bravery, survival, and hope. Join us at Legacy of War as we take a deeper look. Before we start the video, don't forget to check out our selection of playlists. We cover other wars like Vietnam, the World Wars, as well as Viking and Roman times. We will also be adding to our collection soon. Make sure you like, subscribe, and let us know your thoughts in the comments. Now relax and enjoy the video. That's in order. Mariupol before the war. Mariupol, a bustling port city on the Sea of Azov, was known for its steel production, beautiful beaches, and vibrant cultural life. With a population nearing 500,000, it was a key economic hub in southeastern Ukraine. The city's rich history and diverse community made it a beacon of prosperity and resilience. But all this was about to change dramatically. The geopolitical tensions that began simmering in 2014 were set to boil over, placing Mariupol directly in the line of fire. What were the signs that the city was heading towards such a dramatic turn of events? The siege begins. In early 2022, as Russian military maneuvers intensified, Mariupol's strategic significance made it a prime target. It was the largest city in the Ukrainian-controlled portion of Donetsk Oblast, and was also one of the largest Russian-speaking cities in Ukraine. On February 24th, the full-scale invasion began, and Mariupol quickly became one of the focal points of the conflict. Residents woke up to the sounds of explosions and advancing troops. Capturing the city would give Russia full control over the Sea of Azov. Amid the chaos, the city had to decide, flee or fight. As the siege tightened, the world watched in disbelief. What made Mariupol's resistance so formidable? The fierce fighting. Ukrainian forces, including the Ukrainian ground forces, the Ukrainian Naval Infantry, the National Guard of Ukraine known as the Azov Regiment, the Territorial Defense Forces of Ukraine, and irregular forces defended the city. What followed was months of brutal urban warfare. Streets became battlegrounds and buildings turned into fortresses. Civilians were caught in the crossfire, seeking refuge in basements and makeshift shelters. During the first week, Mariupol remained under Ukrainian control, but the city suffered from constant shelling. The city was fully surrounded on the 2nd of March, after which the siege intensified. It was announced the city was suffering from a water outage and had experienced massive casualties, and that Russian forces were preventing civilians from exiting. The Azovstal Iron and Steel Works, the heart of one of the remaining pockets of resistance, was well defended and described as a fortress within a city, as the steel plant was an enormous complex which held out the longest. It made locating the Ukrainian forces difficult and had workshops that were difficult to destroy from the air. Additionally, the complex contained a system of underground tunnels, which would make clearing the entire complex challenging. Russian President Vladimir Putin ordered Russian troops not to storm the Azovstal steel plant, but to blockade it instead until the Ukrainian forces there ran out of supplies, but the plant was still subject to heavy bombing. The Ukraine defenders held out until the 20th of May, when they surrendered to Russian forces. Despite being heavily outnumbered, the defenders' resolve was unbreakable. How did they manage to hold out for so long under such dire conditions? The humanitarian crisis. As the siege dragged on, a severe humanitarian crisis unfolded. Thousands were trapped without adequate food, water, or medical supplies. International aid organizations struggled to deliver much-needed assistance due to relentless shelling and blockades, with reports that people were drinking from puddles in the streets. It was also reported that there was no heat, electricity, or telephone service. According to U.S. officials, civilians had been unable to evacuate the city due to repeated ceasefire violations. On the 18th of April, it was estimated that 95% of the city had been destroyed in the fighting. By mid-June, The United Nations stated it had confirmed the deaths of 1,348 civilians, but said the true death toll was likely thousands higher. Despite the dire conditions, the spirit of Mariupol's residents never wavered. What acts of courage and solidarity emerged during these dark times? Acts of heroism. Stories of heroism are countless, from volunteers risking their lives to deliver supplies, to medics treating the wounded under fire. The courage of Mariupol's people shone brightly. These are tales of ordinary people performing extraordinary acts of bravery. But even the strongest resolve couldn't prevent the inevitable. What happened when Mariupol finally fell to Russian forces? The fall and occupation. By May 2022, after months of relentless siege, Russian forces took control of Mariupol. The city lay in ruins, its infrastructure devastated and its population scattered. The humanitarian toll was staggering, with thousands dead or displaced. Despite the devastation, the story of Mariupol is not one of defeat, but of resilience. What efforts are being made to rebuild this storied city? Rebuilding in the future. In the months after taking control of the city, Russian authorities had many damaged buildings torn down, sometimes even turning out the remaining residents. Some new houses were also built. Associated Press describes this ongoing process as an effort to eradicate all vestiges of Ukraine and to cover up the evidence of war crimes. Local schools started using the Russian curriculum, the television and radio broadcasts in Russian, and many street names were replaced by their Soviet-era ones. In May 2023, the Ukrainian military began launching long-range missile strikes on Russian positions in Mariupol, who had started to turn the city and the surrounding villages into a military logistics hub. As we conclude, the future of Mariupol remains uncertain, but the spirit of its people offers hope. What can the rest of the world learn from their incredible resilience? Thank you for joining us on this journey through the Battle of Mariupol. How do you think Mariupol will rebuild? Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Check back in again soon. Salute.